welcome, gentlemen, to today's event. We have Duong. He is one of the directors at FPT Smart Cloud, leading the AI team as well, part of that AI team. We have Nghiem. He is the CEO, founder of Finhay. Finhay's been around for a long time.
5 years.
5 years? Not 15, but 5. And then we have James, CEO, founder of Infina. So I've known James the longest. He's been around the block for a while. He's done a couple of things. He was a vice president at IDG Ventures, one of the first venture capital firms in Vietnam. He was also the CEO of Vietcetera, which was acquired by Line, the Japanese messaging app. Phenomenal, one of the first exits in Vietnam, actually. So talk to him if you need some M&A advice. Not Manisha, she can't help you, but James can. And also now James is now leading one of the fintech startups that's fintech startup darlings in Vietnam, I guess you could say, Y Combinator backed, Sequoia Capital backed. Am I getting that right? And whatever else is invested into Infina, doing cool stuff. We have Huy, 5 years at Finhay.
Yep.
Finhay, also another consumer-facing fintech application. I remember learning about Finhay probably around the same time I arrived here 5, 6 years ago. And following their story, they just raised a monster $25 million round. Wow, you guys pulled it off. I want to hear about that. During one of the worst times ever, pulled it off from Open Space Ventures. And of course, our guest from FPT Smart Cloud, Duong. He's got a lot of expertise about the security of these applications and how they're able to serve this growing user base. I'm sure the statistics were just off the charts just a few months ago, but have slowed down. So we'd love to hear about that as well. Let's get straight into it, guys. So by the way, we do have a Q&A for these folks at the end. So if you do have questions, please take note of it, and we'll take a few at the end. For Winnie and Manisha, if you'd like to ask them questions, you can find them after this over a glass of Chivas, which is sponsoring today's event, by the way. Thank you, Chivas. We'll just start with James and go through the folks here. Fintech services. I mean, you guys don't have the security teams that MasterCard does. You don't have the security teams that maybe Momo does, but what you do have is innovation. Oh, they do too, but you guys perhaps a little bit more hustling. Love to hear how you guys build trust with your folks. Maybe start with you, James. You have a lot of trouble sometimes convincing people to download the app, but how do you get people to download the app?
Xin phép nói tiếng Việt. I'm just kidding. It's a great question. I think as companies that manage people's money, including payment companies, investing apps, etc., trust is the number one thing. It's the most important thing you need to acquire. This is not really. I'm not sure which one you want to focus on. You mentioned cybersecurity. You mentioned that there's a lot of scams, etc. I mean, cybersecurity, let me just touch briefly on that, is obviously one of the most important things. I mean, everything being, online, there'll be the regular users, and then there'll be people who want to take your money, all your users' money. So cybersecurity is absolutely key. Of course, we have to be compliant to all the cybersecurity standard. We also have hacker team, doing screening and doing penetration testing, etc. But even sometimes that's not enough, right? Because like a lot of your weakest link, you are only as strong as your weakest link, and your weakest link sometimes is not online. Sometimes is your employees go in a cafe and doing Wi-Fi, and then all of a sudden get hacked into, and then that person happened to be able to do something in the system, and then so things like that. So ranging from very, very small things to very, very big things, and also including internal compliance control, compliance and risk management, etc. All of those things are heavy on our mind, and obviously very important as we want to build a very long-term company. But then in terms of convincing the users, I'm sorry, did you want to jump?
I was talking about, you mentioned scams.
Yeah.
I'm sure people have tried to impersonate Infina in the past, right?
That's right. Yeah. So I think all of us, including I'm sure all the big players, there's a whole class of, I mean not class, but there's a whole group of people called MMO, make money online. And these people, I would love to hire them. They are so smart and they're so good, and they, it's like, well, you worry about acquisition costs, just hire them. They will hack their way through and get you all kinds of users. Obviously, not real ones. But I mean, kidding aside, getting the trust. Obviously, cybersecurity is the fintech company's responsibility. But for the consumer, it is obviously their responsibility to know what is a scam and what is not. And unfortunately, many of them don't know. And so, it takes a lot of education, and it's an effort that we all have to do together to educate the consumer. For example, things like even very basic things. If people promise you a very high return, you know that there is a very high risk behind that. But sometimes people just kind of don't care about the risk, but just like, it's okay. It's not a lot of money. If I lose it, I lose it. And so, they get scammed. But again, education and many other things that we do can help that. So I don't want to dominate the conversation.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, Nghiem, I wanted to move over to you. I first heard about Finhay actually, I think through influencer marketing. You guys were one of the pioneers, I guess, at the time, doing it. By the way, are you guys competitors?
We're very good friends.
Okay. I'm like, yes, I got two competitors on the same stage here.
We are Coca-Cola and Pepsi.
You can just feel the heat here, geez. Question for you, similar to what I just asked James here. How do you build that continued confidence? Because I mentioned about the influencer marketing. You guys are doing your business, right? But sometimes consumers do lose money. They invest at the wrong time, or they make the wrong choice. Not wrong, but just didn't work out. And sometimes they lose money on the Finhay platform, right? Or these other fintechs. How do you build that confidence though when you're out there marketing and the retail downturn didn't help either? What are you guys doing to reinstill that confidence?
Okay. So there are a few components in your question. So it refer back to trust. Building trust takes time, and during that time, there are a lot of work you have to do. These things has been done at Finhay since the very first day. First of all, be true, and also be consistent what we say. Because from time to time, people understand it, then they can feel it. And part of it, to answer to the question about in the event of market downturn like this, bearing market, all inflation hike, and the potential sort of another 3 increases in the interest rate by Fed, for sure the market will go down. And then upfront, based on my personal experience back in Australia, always disclose in advance. Investment involves risk. All the past performance doesn't indicate future return. As long as we can deliver that message, users understand it, and they're happy to use the platform, then they can start using it.
Do they understand it though? Do they read it?
Yeah. I mean, you have to be consistent. Again, consistency. So in all of your indicated return, there's always a little, asterisk mark saying this is the past return. It's not future. It's not future return on your performance. And we constantly talk about, investment involve risk. So that is something that we've been doing since the very first day.
Okay.
And that's how we get through not just this market event, but also before that 2018 or 2020 when the COVID hit. We're still doing okay. And so that's part of the sort of, trust, time, and then consistency and be true. And part of it is cybersecurity. Yes, the system itself. So we do have the team in-house to run check on it quite regularly. And also we do have a bug bounty program to allow outsiders to actually check our system. And also we work with CMC, which is part, one of the big security firm in Vietnam, to help checking the system as well. Also part of cybersecurity, we also touch on social engineering because, funny enough, most of the hack come from social engineering. Your team click on a phishing email and they lose password, and there are funny human errors. So all of that are controlled and also are monitored quite tight in-house. to ensure that the team are properly follow. Because again, just like Jay mentioned, we're dealing with people's money, and we want to ensure that we have that governance in place.
Got it.
And then also governance. I mean, there's a whole sort of list of what we've been doing at Finhay to ensure trust is maintained. Obviously, we don't say all of those to clients, but they can feel it. Got governance, risk control, and also part of the ESG as well. But we can talk about it later. But yeah, so those are the things that we've been doing at Finhay to sort of deliver trust from time to time. But it will take time to build trust. Yeah.
Who answered better, James or Hui? Scorecard is 1-1. It's 1-1. Doug, I'd like to move over.
It's not a competition.
It's not a competition. Yeah, it's not a competition. Doug, we invited a third party to today's panel because we want to get more of a third party perspective, not just within the space itself. FPT, you guys probably know FPT. You guys have an e-wallet yourselves, so you know the space fairly well. But what are you guys seeing in terms of, you work with tons of clients, I'm sure, in the fintech space. Are they taking that security seriously enough? And what are some mistakes that some of them are making when they're making those security decisions?
I prefer to answer the same questions as these two guys because, and then answer your questions later. Honestly, since James and we already sharing about the cybersecurities and hacks and trust, from my side of view, from FPT, I think about the young consumer first. They are the Gen Z, and we need to focus more about the behavior of them. I'm talking more about the customer experience. They demand fast, instantly take care when you have a campaign at the peak time or when you have an issue. So I think fintech already got the cloud-based, the PaaS and technology in it. But for the customers support and customer experience to serve these young consumers instantly, I think we will need to add up more for that as well. And there's no way that with the high pace and we need scalabilities. You guys scale like really fast. There's no way that the original system can match for that. So there's a new way of doing serving the customer as well. So that is more I need to share with the panel.
Sure.
And for the second question, which is about
are these fintech companies taking the security seriously enough, or is it more of like a smoke and mirrors kind of game?
Since they already the cloud-based in their DNA for sure. So you're running on not only local but for the regionals as well. So for sure they will choose and pick the trusted one, and they will demand a lot of pen tests, certificate, and if any issue happen, the SLA will be ring a bell, and we need to serve instantly.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned about the the customer experience and Gen Zs in particular about these fintech applications. I want to move it back to you two, James, starting with James. I'm sure most of your customers are Gen Z, if not millennials. What are their top, when you're doing marketing, when you're educating these customers, how are you speaking to them? What is really drawing their attention right now, would you say? Is it investing? Is it saving money? Is it managing their money better? What are some top of mind talking points?
We have different products. So different product actually appeal to slightly different segment. For example, the Gen Z people like to trade stock, and then the millennial, a little bit older, working people tend to want to do something that is very easy to understand, like putting money in some fixed income products. And we found that mutual fund is the hardest to convince. Just the language itself, in Vietnamese is called Chứng chỉ quỹ, so it's like a certificate of a fund. And then if you Google it, the top ranked pages also actually made you more confused. so we speak to them, we would say, well, it's really, if you don't really know how to pick your own stock, you know, you might want to consider investing in a basket that's managed by professionals. And you know, that's kind of how we do it. You know, yeah, just as one example.
Yeah. Hui, how about you guys? What products are seeing the most success with these young folks and why?
Yeah, so we do see a sort of a mix of demand depending on the type of customers. So yes, we do have millennials within our platform, but you know, people think Finhay serve only millennials, but turn out we do serve a lot of high net worth clients as well. And each type of client having different approach to the product. But the one that is safe and generate fixed incomes actually convert the best. And I agree with James that mutual funds seem to be very complicated to most people, you know, given that, you know, we have different structure, open-ended, closed-ended, and, you know, not to mention ETF and so on, and how you buy it and how you sell it. Very complicated. The one is easy is fixed income. It's easy to understand. You get fixed income. So that one convert the best. And going back to customer experience, yes, Finhay, that's one of our cornerstone. We spend quite a lot of money on customer experience, and we do invest in a team to do a research on it quite regularly. So we do that every 2 weeks. We have a dedicated team in-house to actually do and understand what customer needs is, and also what do they want and how do they want to improve that. And that is conducted quite regularly every 2 weeks. Yeah, so that we do pay a lot of attention to customer experience. Yeah.
Let's talk about fixed income. Both of you have said it's among your top performing products. I get it. It's safe, it's predictable, but Vietnamese are known as risk takers a little bit. Has that trend shifted over the last 6 to 12 months? Like 12 months ago when the retail market was going nuts, stocks were the top pick, right? But has it gravitated now towards fixed income?
I'll share a little bit data with you. So we do see around like 60% plus of our end user are within that fixed income products. The rest are the mix of different high risk product like stocks and mutual fund units and so on. But the one that own mutual fund units and stock having a substantial amount on the fixed income products. So what does it mean? It means like the saving product is very, very appealing to most people. There are certain group of users that are willing to put aside their money to actually invest in riskier assets like stocks or mutual funds. So yeah. I would say fixed income is the needs for most of fintech players as a hook to convert users. Yeah.
James, does that?
We see the same thing.
You see the same thing? Okay, very good. Next question is for Duc here. How about, well, you work on the AI side. Can you kind of share more about how fintech firms are using AI, for instance?
That's more easier. But
There we go.
it will be depend on your target, acquiring the new customers or retain the old one, because difference will choose different strategies. But I see that there will be the same for acquire or retain, that we will need data. And we have data lake, CDPs, AI recommendation systems that can help the company to build a digital profile of the clients, so they will see the strategy will fit the best for the current customers, and also have the data to foresee and to build what next for the new client as well. And there's a lot of good company do it, like Robinhood. They cooperate with AWS. They got the data lake for that. In 2021, I remember they got 20 million users. 8 million is the millennial and young customer, right? And after have a magnificent, brilliant one, they grow more than 10 million customers, and these are really success story from the guy working with the tech company as well. So fintech can choose to work in-house, or they can partner with the technology companies. So, but it will be the choice. But
Sure.
there will be the benefits for each of them as well.
Well, let's talk about retention a little bit. You know, Manisha touched upon it, and in a lot of ways, Winnie did as well in terms of coming back and using the product. What kind of technologies does FPT use to help these fintech firms drive more retention? Data, I'm sure, is one. But
So there will be two. The one will be in the data in the back end. So we will do the calculations for the cost of acquisition. You know that the cost for acquiring new customer might be 5 times higher than just retain the old one. We will have the data in the back ends and help them to make decisions to see that the churn rate and to predict they leave us when they will leave us and what we need to do to like prevent it. And we also got the upper layers like the customer experience. We got the conversational AI that can do the continuous and seamless take care of the customer with the AI as well.
okay, are you guys using AI?
We do at Finhay. We do at Finhay actually.
You do, James, as well?
Not really.
Not really.
Not yet.
Why is that?
I think AI is something that once you want to automate a lot of the analysis, but also want to have the personalization, where for example, if you have a lot of investment products, then just like TikTok, right? There's so much content out there, so you use machine learning to really understand what individual wants, and then you can tailor that to them. But for us is that it's not the same as content. So investment is something that is actually more specific to, for example, your goal. If you want to retire at a certain age, with a certain amount of spending, or if you want to set a goal to buy a house, or different those things. They're currently, because there's just not that many products, we can do it by hand, and it's a lot better to do it by expert. I can imagine a future where you can have AI to move things around automatically, rebalance the portfolio, etc. But right now it's just kind of it would be a science project. I think for at least for us, we don't think that is it makes sense.
I want to talk about retention with the two of you, and then we'll kind of wrap it up here. Retention, what has it looked like at Finhay over the last 6 months? I'm sure it's dropped a little bit, but you guys have been on the offense to recover that.
Yeah, so it dropped compared to not just 6 months ago, but also very early of the year, simply because the market is in bear market and all things happen in the macro level, what's going on right now. So we do see a downturn in number of active users. Yeah, and it's hard, and he's right. It's hard to get the customer back and use it because it's actually cheaper to get new clients, given that we in this market environment. So retention's dropped. It's harder to get them to use. I mean, the sentiment is not good. So, sometimes when you want to serve someone have a strong need, it's easier. But now the need is very low. It's really hard to get them to actually start saving and start investing. So.
Have you seen just people being inactive, like not logging onto the app, or are they like exiting all their positions entirely?
Inactive, yeah.
Inactive. So they've maybe taken some losses, or maybe there's not a lot of upside left, so they just kind of leave it there. And
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, we can see that from the data from market index. Look, Vietnam hit 2 billion in trading volume at all-time high daily. As of today, hitting about 400 million. So it's 75% drop.
So you guys haven't necessarily lost customers. You just haven't been active. So I think part of the play there is just kind of a waiting game a little bit with them.
To me,
delivering new products for them.
I think we touched on the retention, but we forgot to touch on it's actually a very good time to build and improve the system. Look, for example, the system he talked about, cloud. We now are a security firm, and we have to invest physical server in our physical site. And then if we are in a bullish market, then it actually give us disadvantage, but now everything is slow. We actually have time to get the server in. It took us 11 months to get a hardware all the way from China to Vietnam, 11 months to be comply. And you run the DC and you know it's very hard to get a good server in, and we do have to invest in it. And then improve customer experience, improve the scalability, and improve stability as well of the app. So all of that is actually a good time to spend during this time, yeah.
Okay. James, is that kind of what your team is seeing as well? Like retention's dropped off a little bit. You guys are going back to building rather than just acquiring. Give us that quick market look.
So the definition for retention, I think we touch on a little bit is, I mean, it depends on how you define retention. We take a different approach in that we actually don't want people to day trade. We don't want people to trade so much, and kind of just follow some rumor or follow some momentum and then, end up getting into that almost like day trading. We want people to get into equity if they choose to buy their own stock, to do some fundamental analysis and be able to say, okay, I think right now it's cheap. I'm gonna buy and hold it for a while, until when the market recover, things like that. So we steer the customer toward that direction. And again, it's like if it's going to be a goal-based type of thing, it's also like, okay, well, if you set that to be your goal, obviously you can allocate some of your portfolio to something that's risky, like investing directly into equity, and then another big chunk into mutual funds, and then maybe something into something, a portion into something safer, like a fixed income product. And so with that, then the retention is actually not bad because people still have the money with us. Maybe they don't trade, but that's not what we want anyway.
Have you guys explored partnerships with parallel industries like e-commerce or banking even to acquire customers? Have you guys considered going that direction as well? And if so, maybe you can share a quick story on that.
In our case, we did explore a partnership with a number of players. And then we realized it's actually the conversion rate is very low.
Very low?
It took quite a long time to convert one business partner. And then it cost us actually a lot of time to spend on it. And in 2021, we pivoted to focus back on retail only. And we tried to eliminate all the unnecessary priority and then laser focus on retail clients. But we did explore with other players in the market, yeah. In 2020.
How about you guys at Infina? Did you see?
Yeah, we're different in that regard. We did go live with Zalo Pay, Tiki, and a few others. And we also surprisingly been approached by other players to basically partner with them. So the way that we view things is that if our goal is to make investing frictionless and easy and accessible, we want the users, wherever they are, to be able to access our investment products. And if that means that we have to embed our capability into other super apps, and if that's the best experience, then that's what we want.
Well, very good, folks. That concludes today's panel and first industry insight session about fintech in Vietnam. We'd like to thank our speakers. We have Winnie, we have Manisha, we have Duc, Huy, James. They're going to be around drinking Chivas, and I hope you guys do too. Stay tuned for the next industry insight sessions. There's one on Thursday. There's the main event next Friday and a couple others later in the month. Check it out. Thank you for coming today, guys, and hope to meet you over some drinks. Thank you.